craze. Sonic.
News 12, voted best weather coverage by the Georgia Association of Broadcasters. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12, first at 5.
Cleared of wrongdoing. Next at 5, we take a closer look at the investigation into the McDuffie County Animal Shelter.
And rapper Young Thug is in the spotlight, busted after what some call a brazen drug deal, caught on camera in court. And deputies say they found more than pills when he went to the hospital. But first, live at 5, a bill advancing at the State House right now could allow halted executions to resume in South Carolina.
That's even if the state Supreme Court strikes down the two currently available methods of capital punishment, the firing squad and the electric chair. State House reporter Mary Green joins us live from Columbia. Mary, what is the status of that Supreme Court case right now?
Well, Will Meredith, the state Supreme Court has not yet delivered a ruling on whether the firing squad and the electric chair are constitutional, and there's no deadline for them to do that. But a bill that's moving through the South Carolina State House right now could restart lethal injections, with around 30 inmates currently on death row in South Carolina, and no way for now for the state to carry out their executions.
This is not a guarantee that we'll be able to obtain the drugs. This is just another tool that we will be able to use to obtain the drugs and go to the companies and say, you will be protected from this public disclosure.
The bill would establish a shield law in South Carolina that would protect the identities of drug manufacturers and compounding pharmacies from being disclosed if they provide South Carolina with the drugs needed for lethal injections. The state's supply expired 10 years ago, and it hasn't carried out an execution since 2011.
I am in favor of this bill, and I'm sick and tired of all the gamemanship of trying to keep us from carrying out justice for crime victims.
But opponents argue this bill would cloud government transparency, even keeping lawmakers themselves from knowing who the state is working with and how much money is going toward it.
We want full disclosure, full transparency when it comes to every aspect of our government, especially when it comes to government killings on citizens.
Senators on that panel voted along party lines to advance this bill, with Republicans voting in favor, so it will next be heard at the committee level, likely within the next 2 weeks. Reporting live from the South Carolina State House, Mary Green, on your side.
Thanks for that, Mary. Governor Henry McMaster has voiced his support for a shield law in the past, calling for the General Assembly to pass one in his State of the State address just 2 years ago.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated as this progresses as well. Turning now to weather, we're taking a beautiful day to be driving on our area roadways. We'll have another update for you coming up in just about 10 minutes. All right, thanks, Riley. The McDuffie County Animal Shelter has been cleared of most allegations in relation to animal care claims. The shelter has been closed since July of 2022. The Department of Agriculture found no abuse or mistreatment of the animals. Moving forward, McDuffie County has agreed to spend $13,000 to repair the shelter. The Department of Agriculture also gave them a $13,000 fine, but if they have no major violations in a 2-year probationary period, that fine will be waived. Later on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we take a closer look at some of the other allegations.
The drama department chair at Washington County High School has been arrested. The Board of Education, Police, and the Sheriff's Office say 32-year-old Michael Dindy has been charged with 2 counts of sexual exploitation of children. We are working to see if he is out on bond. Washington County say the investigation is ongoing. More charges could be pending.
New allegations for a defendant in the Young Slime Life trial in Atlanta. Rapper Young Thug and a co-defendant were caught on camera passing drug in a hand-to-hand trade during a court session. Deputies say Khalif Adams gave him Percocet. Adams is currently serving a life sentence without parole for murder. He was later taken to the hospital after ingesting drugs to conceal them. There they found marijuana, tobacco, and other contraband wrapped in plastic and food to hide the smell. Young Thug, otherwise known as Jeffrey Williams, has been accused of being the ringleader of the YSL gang here in Georgia.
The Georgia Department of Public Safety says it will not release the name of the trooper who was shot this week in Atlanta. The trooper was shot while law enforcement was clearing protesters out of the site of a future police training facility. Officers returned fire, killing the suspect. This isn't the first time law enforcement was called to the area. Just last month, they arrested 5 people there after finding explosive devices.
Governor Henry McMaster has ordered the flags at the state capitol to be lowered to half-staff from sunrise until sunset today in honor of Arthur Ravenel Jr., the Charleston-born former state senator, who's also the namesake of the iconic Ravenel Bridge, died Monday at the age of 95. Ravenel's funeral will be held today in Charleston at 2 o'clock. In New at 5, the city of
Thousands are in Washington, D.C. today for the 50th annual March for Life. After the break, we'll have more on the biggest anti-abortion rights rally in the country. Riley?
Well, here's a live look outside of our studios. Traffic is moving smoothly on I-20 Riverwatch Parkway. We'll have an update on those weekend rain chances just after the break.
Some pediatrician offices say even though they are changing how they do things post-pandemic, this fall and winter they have seen a trifecta of RSV, flu, and COVID. Coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, some clinics are trying new things to avoid big outbreaks. It's advantage.
Thousands of abortion rights opponents took to the streets today in Washington, D.C. It is the first march since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last summer, something the group had been asking the court to do for decades.
The battle over abortion rights is front and center with thousands of abortion opponents taking the streets in Washington for the annual Right to Life March.
Sunday would have marked the 50th anniversary of the landmark decision, making it a constitutional right to have an abortion. But now both sides are digging in for a new kind of fight. NBC's Bree Jackson reports from Washington.
Welcome to the 50th March for Life. Thank you for coming.
Abortion opponents rallying in Washington, D.C. for the annual March for Life. Gatherers say this year they are celebrating life and a major Supreme Court victory. It's the first event since the High Court's conservative majority struck down Roe v. Wade.
It's so wonderful to see so many young people out here, passionate, excited to march, and really bring back this energy to their states.
Even though the constitutional right to abortion ended, organizers tell me their fight continues.
Our goal is to work for the day when abortion is unthinkable.
Since the June ruling, 12 states are now enforcing near total bans on abortion, with a dozen more likely to pass similar laws. Others are pushing to protect abortion rights.
Our job is to continue to draw the contrast, to essentially demonstrate what happens when you lose a federal protection. What happens when one state literally can hold you hostage.
The Biden administration is also taking steps to expand access to reproductive health care nationwide, including the U.S. Food and Drug Administration allowing retail pharmacies to offer the abortion pill for the first time. Still, the White House says there's only so much it can do and is urging Congress to pass national legislation.
We need to codify Roe.
Sunday marks what would have been the 50th anniversary of the landmark decision, a decades-long battle still dividing Americans, but both sides now have a new strategy.
We should be pushing forward, making sure that people understand that the power continues to be in their hands to bring back these rights.
The laws definitely matter, but what's even more important is changing hearts and minds. And clearly, in a post-Roe world, there's a lot of confusion.
Passing any federal legislation aimed at restricting or expanding abortion rights faces an uphill battle and a divided Congress. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Florida Sunday to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the now overturned Roe v. Wade.
And the vice president will focus on the state-level fights over abortion and push for Congress to protect abortion rights. Taking a live look outside of
It's armor. People are in danger. We love this job. She were born for this.
Thank you.
Fire Country. New episodes tonight and after the AFC Championship on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Why should you call a lawyer after a car accident? Well, let me tell you. Without a lawyer, you might not get the money you deserve or the medical care you need. Car crash victims with a lawyer get better access to medical care and over 3 times more money on average than those without one. I don't want to see you settle for less. Call me. I'm Austin Jackson, your guy in Augusta, and I'll shoot you straight. Call Austin Jackson, the Augusta guy, 706-724-2661.
New year.
With our new 4% 6 menu only at Hardee's.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is hinting at the possibility of a run for president in 2024. During a recent interview with Fox News, when asked about her presidential ambitions, Haley said, quote, "Yes, I think I can be that leader." In 2017, under the Trump administration, Nikki Haley was appointed as the UN ambassador, causing her to step away as South Carolina's governor. She left that position in 2018. If Haley does plan to run, she will go head-to-head with former President Donald Trump in the race for Republican candidate for president for that Republican nomination. Can you imagine?
It'll be interesting to watch to see what she does.
Yep.
Well, TSA says it's looking into a data breach of an outdated federal no-fly list of known or suspected terrorists. A self-described cybersecurity researcher says she found the old no-fly list on the public internet on an unsecured computer server. Commute Air says the 2019 list includes names and birth dates and that it's since taken the unsecured computer server offline. A new suicide and crisis lifeline is seeing a big rise in call volume. The hotline, which can be reached by dialing 988, has answered more than 2 million calls, texts, and chats. Its CEO says what we're seeing is probably not an increase in need as much as people having easy access to that service and reaching out for help.
Across the state, medical examiners' offices need more staff. The GBI says due to the growing backlog of cases, current workers are overloaded. Abby Kasoris looks at this statewide issue.
Fulton County is one of 4 counties in Georgia with their own medical examiner's office. The rest use the GBI's crime lab, where a lack of medical examiners is now causing a backlog of cases. These medical examiners process evidence, perform autopsies and toxicology tests, which can give answers to families.
We just lost.
Sharika Watkins first shared her story a year ago.
To go down there to see my child laying on his bed, and it was just so hard.
She needed a death certificate for her daughter Erica. A year later, she's still calling the state's crime lab.
A year? That's way too damn long.
Muskogee County Coroner Buddy Bryan says medical examiners are dealing with more cases and less help. The number of GBI crime labs have been cut from 5 to 3, and their caseloads are growing.
We call it in. They say we don't have a table. We'll call you when we have a table.
The National Association of Medical Examiners says no medical examiner should complete more than 250 medical exams per year. But the GBI says their MEs are performing close to 400 apiece. The only fix, hiring more medical examiners.
Qualified people to want to come in and provide that service. It's a vitally important service.
The state is looking at adding more money to the GBI's budget. The GBI director says right now they have 10 open positions, and they've hired 3 medical examiners who will be on their roles by the end of July. He says right now it's hard to find qualified candidates. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Kasoris.
Regal Cinemas, the second largest U.S. theater chain behind AMC, has announced it is closing 39 theaters across the United States. But good news, the Augusta location is not on that list. Its parent company, Cineworld, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy 4 months ago. Cineworld said in a filing this week, closing the additional theaters will save the company $22 million a year. Around 500 Regal Cinemas will stay open again, including the one in Augusta. Riley?
Good news. That's the one by my house. So glad that's sticking around.
That's some news you can use, Riley.
News I can use right there, especially heading into the weekend, and it's looking like a good weekend to actually hit the movie theater. We got a lot of rain heading our way by Sunday. Beautiful conditions, unfortunately, show up by the time we get to next Monday. Have another look at that 7-day forecast just after the break.
Zaxby's Asian Speeds.
Okay, Valentine's Day is approaching, and the San Antonio Zoo wants to help people brokenhearted get over their ex. The zoo is bringing back its annual tradition of allowing people to name a cockroach after their former partner.
Yeah, if roaches aren't your style here, you can choose a veggie or even a rodent here. The zoo will then feed them to the animals. All you have to do is make a donation of $5 to $25.
Does it have to be a romantic partner? Because I have a list of some people that I could submit to the zoo. Yeah.
I hope I'm not on that list.
You are
I
not
don't
on
wanna be a
that list,
cockroach.
Will. You are not on that list.
Oh,
It's actually not very long.
Where are they getting these cockroaches from? They're just
They're
like...
Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
Are they?
They are. I can tell by looking at them. I'm not even kidding.
What
Like,
is-
that's a Madagascar
so you're telling me
hissing
you look at
cockroach.
those cockroaches and you know what they are? What do you do in your off time? I got questions.
That is a Madagascar hissing cockroach.
I don't...
Isn't
Riley,
it?
did you know that?
I did not know that, but Mary sounds like she knows what she's talking about, so
I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Not the palmetto bugs we have around here.
No, they're not.
Different kind of one. Yeah.
No, they're not. I've actually held one before, so that's how I know. I know.
And you named it.
How random is that?
Name an X after it, and you can smash it. And like, what do they do? Feed them to the
No,
animals?
no, you just name it, Riley. We're not harming them.
I thought that was the whole point.
No. We're just
harming
naming
them
them
anyways.
because they're
Okay.
gross.
I thought we were feeding them to the animals or something. Into the weekend forecast, we got a lot of rain Sunday. Get those outdoor plans in Saturday. We got more coming up just after a quick break. Please stick around.
Okay, we got some new blood this